Yo, so I want to make this video about how phone flippers can essentially use credit in order to buy more devices and scale their business. Um, I think credit is something that people in the industry don't talk about a lot, and I'm gonna explain the ways that I've used credit, and I was able to leverage my credit score in order to, you know, buy more devices and continue to scale and get better at phone flipping and everything. So, um, this is like the first thing that is going to nail out a lot of people or X out a lot of people is the fact that like you must have a 700 credit score in order to get like any kind of um, line of credit, which is the goal of like you want to get straight cash in order to use it to buy phones. So you need a 700 credit score in order to get a line of credit, which is what you want. You just want straight pure cash from the bank and or credit union. Okay. So in order to get that 700, you have to basically follow. If you're starting out with zero, you need to begin with a secured credit card. Um, I got my secured credit card when I was like 18. So you basically just go to the bank with $1,000, say I want to get a secured credit card. You give the bank upfront $1,000, and they will give you a secured credit card based on the $1,000 that you gave them, and you can use that credit card to pay off your bills or pay off whatever expenses that you have. That's what I did. So I would use the credit card to pay off my expenses, and then when the due date came or the statement close date came, I would pay it off and essentially build my credit like that. So that's how I just built my credit from having zero credit to getting up to a 700 credit score. Okay. Um, Now the important thing you want to note is the difference between the statement close date and the due date. For example, your due date might be on the first or whatever date is on. It could be on the first, it could be on the second, it could be on the ninth. Okay. But your due date is extremely different from your statement close date. Statement close date is what is used to report to the bureau to report your credit score. Okay, so this is important that you know the difference between the due date and the statement close date. You always want to pay off your credit card before the statement close date because that is what is actually reported based on your credit. Okay. Um, you might be thinking that you're doing good paying before the due date, but you're actually ruining your credit because you didn't pay it before the statement close date, and the bureau thinks that you actually didn't pay it off, even though like you paid it off before the due date and everything. So like, get your secured credit card, make sure you pay it off before the statement close date, and then eventually you can scale up to an unsecured credit card where the bank will give you a limit of 2,500 or like 5K, depending on what score you have. Um, yeah, just continue to use the unsecured, pay it off before the close date every month, and continue to build your credit history until you have a 700 credit score. Okay, once you have a 700 credit score, that's when you can get a line of credit. Okay, the banks or large banks don't usually give out lines of credits to people or uh, what is it called? Regular checking accounts, like a regular person, but they will but a credit union will give out a line of credit to a regular person that has good credit because these credit unions are trying to make money and they don't have necessarily the same volume as a Bank of America or a Wells Fargo or a major bank. So go to a small local credit union in your area and essentially ask for a line of credit when your credit score is at least a 700. From my understanding, they only lend out money and give out lines of credits to people with a 700 or higher. But you can definitely try if you're around 700 and try to get a line of credit if you feel like you can get it. Um, so yeah, the thing about these credit cards is there is like a utilization score. So you only want to use 30% of your credit card essentially So if you have a 3K balance, you only want to spend about $1,000 essentially, um, in order to have a good credit score, because that utilization does count against your credit score. Um, from my understanding, and from what I've experienced, you're able to use the whole $3,000 credit line just as long as you pay under 30% before the close date. You'll be fine. They just care that they don't want you using all of your credit. They want to see that you're paying most of it off. So just pay it down to at least 30%. I like to pay it off fully before the close date because it helps boost my credit score. But at least the minimum is get it down to 30%. And that's the same with the line of credit. If you have a 5K line of credit, you're only allowed to do 30% of 5K. I don't even know what that is, 1,500. So you're only allowed to basically, they only want you to spend 1,500. You can use the whole 5K. I just recommend that you pay it all the way down to at least 1,500 by the statement close date, not the due date, but the close date. The close date is extremely important that you do that because that is going to affect your credit. Okay. And eventually, once they see that you're continually paying off these lines of credit and your credit card every month, then your credit score is going to keep getting higher, and they're going to see you as a person that they can trust. And that's when you ask for even more money. So after 6 months, I recommend asking for another 5K. They might even give you 15 or 20K, depending on it. The most I've gotten from a credit union is a 25K. And once you get 25K from one credit union, you can essentially get another 25K from another credit union and another 25K from another credit union. You can just stack these credit unions up because you have good credit. That credit score acts as a beacon that you're trustable with money and you're able to, pay off your debt. So these people want to make money by selling you money. So in our business, we basically sell money to people that need it or people who have phones. So it's extremely important that you build a good relationship with these banks so that you can always be able to have liquidity and always have capital whenever you need it, in order to keep flipping your money. And the cost of getting this money is extremely cheap. You can borrow 25K for 30 days and pay $150 fee. And now if you're flipping phones and you consistently do it on a regular basis, you know that $150 is nothing for a whole month. You just have to pay it off before the close date. So this is a strategy that I've been using, getting different loans from these credit unions and just leveraging my credit score in order to buy more phones. I think it's an untapped method that people don't talk about. And yeah, that's kind of my perspective on how I'm able to use credit and the business and everything. So yeah.